What is up, Cabbage Crew? It is Matt and John here discussing the entire first season of Dragon Prince. If you guys have not checked out our individual episode reviews, definitely check those out. We're going to be putting out reviews on Wednesdays and Fridays, 8 a.m. Definitely check those out. Season 2, we're going to start doing reaction videos along with the reviews themselves. So definitely excited for that. There have been a few of you that have been excited about our journey so far, and we appreciate all of the comments and support. So jump into it. We're going to be talking about our overall thoughts of this season so far, series so far, the strengths, the negatives. We have a lot of both. And then we're going to discuss a couple of the main characters, maybe some of our favorite side characters, and then finally our predictions. That'll be pretty much the gist of this entire review. So let's just start. John, I'll pass it to you. Overall thoughts of Dragon Prince season 1.
It was the worst show I've ever seen. No. This was a waste of my time. No. So I'm enjoying it. It's not a perfect show. This is not Avatar: The Last Airbender. This isn't your grandfather's cartoon. But I did overall enjoy it. There's some hits and misses with a lot of it, which Matt and I will definitely be discussing. But overall, it is good. And I'm glad that we are still watching it, and I'm glad that we are moving forward with it, watching all the seasons here. I am liking where we're headed. And I'm hoping that the corrections that I think need to be made get made later on, so that I can appreciate the show more.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think that it's pretty clear that this show has had a lot of hit or misses. I think the big thing about this show is that it's not even episode to episode, even though me and you both did not necessarily enjoy the last episode. But I think it is mainly scene to scene. I think there are some scenes that are written poorly. I think there are some scenes that are written really well. So I would say this is very hit or miss when it comes to just an overall watch. It's almost like listening to an album, and there's a couple great songs sprinkled in, but there's a couple real big misses where you're like, skip. Yeah, I appreciate that. So, but no, I'm excited. Like you said, I'm excited for where we're going. Fix my mic here. Excited for where we're going. I'm excited for the journey ahead. So let's just talk about. Sorry, my thing's a little messed up. But let's talk about some of the strengths of the show. I think me and you agree with a lot of the strengths, but let's talk about some of the strengths of the show.
Sure. One for sure. For the most part, 90%. The animation style. I really do like the animation style of the show.
Really?
Yes. Like I said, majority of it. Like there's some of the character development. Some of the characters and how they're illustrated, I don't agree with, or not necessarily agree with. I just don't like how they're I just like colored in, I guess.
Okay.
But like the world building of it, very bright colors, very detailed. And then there's other characters that are also detailed and they're not murky. They're not murky colors. Like maybe there's a reason to it that I just don't know because I'm not in the animated industry. But that's just more of my style. I like the bright colors. I like because it shows that at least like a lot of, well, not a lot per se, maybe, but like money and investment was poured into it. And so yeah, that was like one of my biggest strengths there for animation.
Okay.
Another one, I would say I'd say the plot of the overall show is a key strength, because I like where we're headed, like the overall story of what we know, and it's good to know where we're going, even though there might be bumps in the road along the way, with certain dialogue, which I mean that's a weak. It could be better. I don't know if it's a weakness, but it could be better category.
Right.
But yeah, with bumps along the road, it'll even out in the end, and because again, it's a hit or miss. Some plot scenes are great, some are not.
Yeah.
It's like a hilly road.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'd say like those two, for sure, for strengths.
Yeah. I would say I agree with you with the animation. I've kind of liked the animation since the beginning. I know it must have kind of grew on you. Oh, it must have grown on you more because it seemed like you didn't love it at the beginning. So
my thing in the beginning was it was the same thing. It like there were some animation, like I said, a few characters I disagree with still, because they're still the same animation style. My opinion hasn't changed from the beginning, because like the bright colors were still there. The overall animation style with the world building, how detailed they are, has been consistent throughout. It's not like I changed my opinion. Like for example, like the most recent animation style that I loved that we recently saw was and it's going to sound maybe a little bit morbid, but it was the dead animal in Caldera, Curse of the Caldera, where like it was odd but it was oddly detailed. Like it was like it seemed like it was alive,
right.
At least to me. And so like that's where I was like, oh, they actually like put in some work here. So I was pretty consistent throughout with how I felt with the animation style.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think the animation's been strong. I think I agree with you. I think the plot, the overarching story of what we've gotten and where we're going, because it seems like they have at least a path for us, and an end game for us. That I like, and I can appreciate them laying that out for us. And I do like the characters. So far, I do. So I mean, I think we can agree with that. We've talked about those specific things pretty often. I think that's the strength of the show as of right now. If I guess one other little like minor thing that I enjoyed about this show is you cutting out there? You good?
I think I'm cutting out, but we'll see.
I think one thing that I do appreciate about this show is go ahead and fix yourself. It's fine. I can edit it. All right, cool.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I'm writing down because I have to do a couple edits. No, one thing I did like about so far about this show, besides just the animation, the plot, kind of the basic stuff, but I do appreciate the relationship with some of these characters, and I can kind of feel it. It's obviously still building, and we're getting there, but I can appreciate that. And I do think the villain is actually a solid villain. We'll see where it's kind of going, but I think we have the foundations. This season's done very good at building those foundations. Like, we got the world, we got the plot of the overarching story. We like these characters. We got our villain. Now let's go.
Right.
And I like how they did that. I like how they built that foundation. So, like we mentioned, we do like the show, but not every show is going to be like Avatar: The Last Airbender. No show is perfect besides Avatar. So,
Right.
we do have our negatives. I will say, I think that we can both agree that the middle of this season was the strongest. Like episode 3, 4, 5, 5, like that. There was a streak in there that was like, okay, we're rolling. And then it kind of, in the beginning of it was a little messy. We understand why, but we just didn't. It was a lot of learning at once, and the end of it seemed to kind of fade away due to a plot that we didn't like. But overall, I mean, do you have any big negatives so far on the show?
Like I said in one of my responses was I wouldn't say this is a negative, more or less, of like things to work on, and it's dialogue.
Yeah.
Because it's not like the whole show was bad, but there were definitely a lot of scenes that could have been handled better, and in certain speeches, words used that could have been way better used. And so like there's that. So like, if you had to put it in that category, we'll put it in that category of negative. But I want to say that it's not like the entire show's dialogue is bad, because it's not. It's actually relatively it's like a lot of the plot. It's hit or miss, and and that would fall in the hit or miss category. So I'd more put it towards the middle of like to be worked on rather than negative. But like I said, if you had to put it in negative category, we can put it in the negative category. Another negative would have to be certain plot conveniences.
Yeah.
For sure. With like,
that's what I was going to kind of say. Yeah.
Especially with the last episode with
the
last episode and the ending of the last episode before that, where Ezran's like, there's actually not a moon healer or magic healer because Ava told me so.
Kind of came out of nowhere.
It came out of nowhere. I mean, it was
it was bad.
Yeah. So like, that's just like one example, but there's definitely a few more in the previous episodes. I don't know if you can remember any of those plot conveniences with that.
I wouldn't even say plot conveniences, and I guess that is a plot,
or maybe or weak things going.
It's like a weak way to introduce things.
Yes,
and I think good shows, Avatar, any good show you can think of, what something they do really well at is they kind of leave breadcrumbs, a foundation of an idea, and then they come back around to it, and you're like, oh, like a very basic one. We'll jump to Avatar: The Last Airbender. We understand that Toph can see with her, because she's blind, with her feet. So it makes sense that she can't see in the sand, and that it's because we can put that together, right? But let's just say they were walking and she randomly was like, oh, I can't see in gravel, or I can't see when it's a sunny day out. You're like, what? That doesn't make sense. Right. And so there's certain things that they like throw at you in this season or in this story that sometimes you're like, that doesn't make sense for what you've already set up. Right. And I'm saying you're trying to kind of feed us things here and there, but it would have made, going back to the dog situation, it would have almost made more sense if they set that up where maybe Claudia accidentally did a spell and he got the spell, and then throughout the season he's like, am I hearing voices? Like things are me, and it clicks at the end of the episode before that episode, and you're like, oh, he can now listen to, he can now communicate with animals. And then we meet this dog, and he's like, yeah, it's BS, and it's like, oh, well, because they set that up. And there was multiple times, I'm not going to pinpoint every time, but there was just multiple times where it felt like they would set something up so fast, or it would where it'd be not only convenient, but it would be like, instead of breadcrumbs given to you, it would be like, hey, let's go out to the park, but by the way, here's a cake. It'd be so random, and it's like, oh, well, thanks. This is nice, but I know you're trying, but I don't need this cake right now. Give me some breadcrumbs first. So that's kind of where I would say one of the biggest flaws is for me. I would say another, along with the comedy, we kind of the writing, but overall, I think it's the comedy has been very, very spotty. Even when it's good, it's not great. It's like, I get it. It's funny.
Yeah.
When it's bad, it's bad. Almost to the point where it takes you out of it. I hope the comedy gets better. I said this in our review, I think last episode or 2 episodes before. I hope we start falling in love with these characters even more. So even when the comedy is not good, we can at least appreciate that character and be like, this is what that character does. Sometimes Sokka's comedy is not great, but we all know Sokka's goofiness, and it's kind of with his character, so it works. So I'm hoping that's where we get to, or I'm just hoping comedy lands. I think it's a little spotty. And I think the last weakness, which isn't really even a weakness, but I hope we have a better understanding as the series goes of the magic of this world.
Yes.
I understand the background. I understand the story. I'm loving all of it, and I like the magic. But it does very much seem like whenever there's a situation, let's just go collect some bees and pick up some hair and put it in a thing, and now we know what we need to know.
There's no explanation. I'm just adding on with like Claudia and Viren just like randomly using magic spells. Like there's no backstory of the spell. It's just like, accept this, audience. This is what happens in this world, without like, it's essentially saying, audience, they know this already. You don't need to know why.
Right. And again, if we're under the assumption that Claudia is one of the best sages in the world, and she uses dark magic and she really understands it, cool. But again, it's just, when it comes to my magic of a world, I want a really good box, a condensed box of understanding what the magic does, either if it's Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings, Avatar: Last Airbender, whatever series I'm watching. And I feel like Marvel, whatever. And I just feel like this is not as nice of a tight box as it could be. Maybe we'll get there. So I think those are the negatives. Again, all of them can be fixed / done better in future seasons. So let's talk about some of our other favorite things, or good things. Get out of the negative mindset. We're just going to break down relatively quickly each of the main characters. We're going to talk about for what we think is the top 4, the main characters. We have Ezrin, you have Callum, you have Rayla, and you have Viren. And then we might talk about a couple of our favorite smaller characters. I'd say side characters, but smaller characters at this point of the show. So, I mean, do you want to start us off? We can talk about, let's just talk about Callum first, because he seems like he's the main character at this point.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about him a little bit?
No.
Okay, move on.
No, I'll be honest. In the beginning of the show, I did not like him. Like the first episode or 2, I was like, who is this guy? Like, what kind of hotshot does he think he is? That type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say he has completely redeemed himself. He has, for me, he has, like, he had the biggest personal character growth to me as the show went on.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, he's probably my probably second favorite character now.
Yeah, I like to think that think that Callum is kind of, we're seeing it through his eyes in a sense. Maybe it's because he's the one that's learning the magic, so he's learning things, and by him learning, it's kind of teaching the audience as well. I mean, I do think he's the main character. I've liked him the whole time. I think he's a pretty decent character. So I'm definitely excited to see where that character goes and his growth of his relationship with Rayla. I really do wish that I wish that they made Callum and Ezran's relationship a little better.
I agree.
Tad better. I try to keep thinking to myself, like, right now, if we're looking at Avatar: This Airbender, we're right around when we're finding out about the comet. So, I mean, we're pretty early. We're right around that, like, episode 9 jet. So we're very early still in this series. We've done the first season, but it's only 9 episodes. We've only had maybe about 3 hours of screen time with all these characters. So I do want to see more from Callum. Ezran's the one that kind of, for me, did what Callum did to you. He's the one that's grown on me the most. Didn't really like him at the beginning. Remember, I think I said he reminded me of the character from Korra.
Oh, Mako?
No, he reminded me of a character from Avatar.
The youngest son from Tenzin.
No, season 4.
The kid who was with the daughter of Tenzin's daughter.
Yes.
Yeah. Julie. It's like Julian. It's like some.
That's what we said last time. Oh no, it's gonna annoy me. Anyway, season 3. It's essentially season 3. But yeah, he reminds me of him. Sometimes I just hate when they don't show Kai. He reminded me of Kai at the beginning, because I thought they showed him as if he was going to be like this mischievous kind of character who steals, and he's not like that at all. It just I don't know.
He's just a kid.
He's just a kid.
Kid.
He's just a fun kid. I like him and his relationship with Bait. I think it's a kind of a cute, fun relationship. I do feel like he is. I'd say the character with the most potential, but like he's a character that I just think that he's going to grow. I could just see his character growing. I mean, he is the prince, so I think that character is going to get more important. And then I like kind of like towards the end, one thing I will appreciate, I think him and Rayla's relationship got a little better and started strengthening. So we'll see with all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of the reason is because like he is a kid and kids forgive easier.
Yeah.
They just like brush it off their shoulder.
Oh, another little plot convenience thing that we talked about. Just the whole them not trusting Rayla randomly after like 4 episodes.
That was early on. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So we'll talk about Rayla a tad bit. I mean, Scottish accent, I'm getting used to. I will say. I still don't understand it. Not one character has an accent besides her. They just, I guess, during development, they're like, you know what? Everyone's going to speak perfect English, and then we're going to have some random Scottish elf. Even all the other elves all speak pretty white.
Wait a minute. Scottish is also white.
I know. I'm sure they have. I'm just saying. All I'm saying is they very much speak English, and you have one Scottish character. So, it just kind of came out of nowhere. That's all. And I like her as a character, though. Brave. I think the comedy of her characters kind of grew on me a little bit.
Sure.
She is the one that kind of kicks ass, badass. You can start seeing some of the cracks in her as a character, either if it's her relationship with her parents, how she views herself as a warrior and as an assassin, how she might view her race altogether as the elves going against the humans. Like, she may not agree with everything they do. So I think she has the best case for me as like the strongest favorite character. What do you think? What say you?
Well, you led right into it. She's my favorite character.
Oh, cool. Beautiful.
Yeah. I everything you described, how like she's such a fighter. She's a very, very strong female character. With a very sensitive backstory about her with her parents, that she suppresses, I guess, a little bit, and doesn't want to ever talk about, and so she uses that she puts that on the back burner, not dealing with it, and then she takes it out when she fights, and her abilities with agility, her sword fighting, her overall quickness, and then her moral dilemma is like, that she has some good in her. I mean, honestly, she reminds me of like a semi Zuko character personally. Like just in that sense of like, there's good inside her. She joined the group of Ezra and Callum. She didn't kill the knight whenever she was ordered to. Like, she has a heart, and having her be on that side is like,
it kind of goes back to the innocence, the innocence of, she's a teenager, the adults have more rage in them. They have a little bit less of a sense of, I'm willing to change, where she is like fighting for this cause and she doesn't even know why. I agree with you. I think there's a little bit of Zuko in her.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to her character development a lot. I'm looking forward to her and Callum's relationship and her and Ezra's relationship. I'm very much looking forward to her character. I mean, every character I'm looking forward to see where they end up. At the end of the day, it's just like that's how shows work. They grow, hopefully. But she's my favorite character so far in the show. She overcomes her fears remember, she was afraid of the water, where she wanted to go into the boat, but whenever it came time to save Ezra in the egg, she didn't think twice about going on the ice. And I think the camera, I think the camera intended that to show that to the audience, where they showed her feet step on the water. That was I think that was a direct point to show to the audience, like look, she's actually like not even thinking about it, and trying to save Ezra in the egg, and I just thought that was an amazing way to explain a plot structure.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, another weak thing that we didn't talk about. I hate to go back to weak thing, but this has to do with her. Is and a big part of her character is the wristband, and that and I would almost say that would be a really interesting concept, is if Ezra died and came back to life, died for a split second and came back, and then it broke off of her or something like that. I thought that was a very, we talk about things that kind of came out of nowhere and just things that we didn't like. It's like the dragon got hatched and then ripped it off. Right. I just think that whole wristband story arc they had just wasn't even needed. In the end, I mean, there was nothing that kind of came out of it. So, which I wouldn't say it's directed to her character, but it is something that I just noticed, where it's like, I think there could have been a confliction. Like, it seemed like she was just kind of, okay, I'm going to lose my hand, and I think it would have been nicer and a little bit more interesting to have this conflict with her with like, do I kill this kid because my hand's about to fall off? And then in the end, she makes the right decision. And I'm not saying they should have done that, but it seemed to me like she was very much just very quickly okay with losing her hand.
Well, because she didn't know how to break it. I mean, because she tried everything, and she was like, "Well, I guess it's not coming off."
I mean, killing him, that would have been the way.
Right, but she knows
So,
that she couldn't have done that.
well,
Even with the binding, the binding assassin, right? Is that what it's called?
yeah, the bind was him being alive. So
The
if she
assassin's
killed him,
bind. Yeah, the
yeah, the
assassin's
assassin's bind. So if he died, if she killed him, then it would have came off. I thought they could have been there could have been a really interesting way of doing it so that they're together. They're having this healer come. Like, I just things were coming to my head where I was just like, they have this healer. She has a wristband that can only come off if he dies. Maybe there's a scene where he sacrifices himself for the egg and he dies, but the egg lives and then it hatches. And then the dragon comes out and licks him and he comes back to life. And then her wristband comes out off. And it's like, oh, it all comes together. And it's like,
right.
no, like dragon just hatches and licks and then just bites it off. And it's like, oh, okay.
Right.
And I just thought that like they were really ramping that up for her character. And I thought it was like maybe there was this big emotional impact of how this character gets out of this, what seems like a death wish, and how she can get out of it in a really cool, creative way. And it was like, no, it was actually just really lazy writing.
It was like, look, it's also like plot convenience, also too, in my personal opinion, where with the assassin's bind, I actually agree.
But then why introduce it? Why introduce it?
Because you needed to have something like that weighing her down to actually do the deed.
But she never was conflict. That's what I'm saying. Like, if there was a confliction, there was never a confliction for her. Like from the second they saw the egg, she went from "I'm going to kill you" to "let's join forces." I'm fine with that because her whole ideology shifted. But then why even introduce
Right,
the
because the
band?
egg
Like,
stayed
if there was
alive.
multiple, if
She
there
was
was
lied
multiple,
to. Because she was lied to, or
but
not lied to, but
what I'm saying
misinformed.
is, I wish there was some either a confliction of like, this thing's going to kill me or take off my hand. So what do I do? Do I do the right thing? Do I know what's right is to take the egg, or do I do what was going to save my life? And maybe if there was just a small situation, I just wish that was done differently, because if that wristband was never in play and we never had that assassin band, what is it called?
Assassin's bind.
Assassin bind. If we never had that, nothing would have changed in the entire show, so far. So, and maybe it comes back around. Maybe they're
Well,
introducing
no,
it for a reason.
because
But
it was an important. Well, okay, it did lead to Callum mistrusting her because he saw her mess with the assassin's bind.
yeah, but I don't
I'm just
think
saying
that
it led
was
to that, so therefore
okay.
it led.
Maybe. Um, I just I don't know. That's just me. And again, that doesn't hurt her character. It's just that's part of her character arc that I thought was going to be really strong and ended up kind of falling flat.
Right.
Nothing against her character. I think her character is fine. All right. Well, let's talk about Viren.
Sure.
And just kind of all of them. I think Viren's a pretty good villain so far. I think there's a lot of mystery to him. There's a lot of things we're going to be learning from him. I think a lot of the magic's learned through him and Claudia.
Mm-hmm.
I do think his children do have good to them. I don't think they're going to be villains in this show. I think they're going to end up turning good. Pretty quickly. I thought it was going to be the end of the first season. Maybe it'll be in the second season. So yeah, I mean, they do a good job at kind of hinting towards certain things, but not telling us. I don't think Harrow's dead still. So I just think they're doing a good job.
I can't wait to. If you're right, I'm just gonna slow clap.
Yeah, I think they're doing a good job with the villain in the sense of he's someone that you can show, like, you can tell he's evil. He's mischievous slash manipulating characters, either if it's his kids, Aunt Maya, whatever. But he's also like, you can just tell is like pure, like he just has this like there's something about it. He kind of reminds me of the Malfoy's father. I forgot his name.
Lucius.
He kind of reminds me of Lucius in a way. Like,
well, I can see that.
mm-hmm.
But I was actually going to say, in terms of if you're thinking that Harrow's still alive, and I was actually going to make the Harry Potter reference of, So you're saying that he probably was like Barty Crouch Jr. and hiding Mad Eye Moody down in that little chest box, kind of like that.
I don't know. I still
You're saying
think,
if Pharaoh's still alive, then Viren had to have kept him secret somewhere.
yeah, I
And
still think,
that's the parallel that I'm trying to say.
right. Yeah, I still think there is something has to happen with that Viper. They introduced it in, I think, the first episode. There's that snake that if you bite them, the soul leaves your body and goes into someone else's body. I can't see why he introduces that. Why would the show introduce that and then just be like, no, we're not doing it, and then just it's like that's such an odd choice to introduce if you're not going to go back to it. So and that's what I'm talking about with the crumbs, right? Where it's like they already laid that down. Now we got that, and it's something that's so memorable, so interesting. Where it's like I could see in season 2. You find out, oh no, maybe they run into some of those snakes later on because they talked about how it was in a specific desert. Like those are the little crumbs I like. So I just think Harrow is going to be still alive. I
hope you're
not.
right. I really do.
I liked him as a character.
That'd be a great plot twist.
Yeah. And overall, I think that the majority of the world building / like the humans' politics, like you said in a couple episodes ago, that you really like, it all kind of goes through Viren. And that's why I think his character is a pretty strong character. And I think he's a pretty strong villain so far.
He thinks through his plans, and sometimes he's a step ahead of everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
he still has this like I don't know, I'm trying to think of the word, but this presence to him. Like even when he was joking.
Is it aura you're thinking of?
Yeah, whatever it is, but he just still has this presence to him where like him and Aunt Maya were talking, and they were kind of joking with each other,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like he still has this presence where you're like, he's evil, but he has charisma. It's like he has charisma.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that. I like that about that character. So we I guess these are two of the same character in a sense. We talked about some of our favorite side characters.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and talk about what your favorite side character is, and then I'll talk about mine.
Yeah, so I have to say, like, a side character that I grew to like, even if it was only for like 2 episodes, was Anna Maya.
Mm-hmm.
Just a very strong, like just a strong leader, strong
Mm-hmm.
general. Especially like she's deaf, so like introducing an animated deaf character to us and showing just how strong and like kind of like Rayla, badass, not taking anybody's crap, like not a pencil pusher, like she gets things done, and she can just like see through the bull crap,
Yeah.
And so like I just loved how tough she was, and I think it was a good part to illustrate that from the creators and the writers' point of view, while with introducing a person who like a person who has a disability,
Mm-hmm.
as a strong character, like as a strong character as she is. They nailed it to a T. It was good.
She kind of reminds me of the Beifong family. Like she looks like them almost in a sense. Like Lynn, very strong, forward, almost in your face, stubborn in a sense. Doesn't I can see you through your bullshit type of character. She'll call you out. Even when she was talking with the kids, she was like, "We're here." And so it's I do enjoy that character. I mean, my favorite, probably my favorite character, and again, it's he's been in such small passings. and he's a very minor character, but every scene he steals, and that is Kren.
Gren. I thought it was
Gren.
Gren.
I thought it was Kren. Is it Gren? I'll look it up.
Gren.
But I really like his character. It is Gren. I'm sorry. One of my favorite characters. I don't even know his name. But no. I mean, his character is just, again, he's only been there. The first episode you see him in, you're like, okay, this second in command that's kind of interpreting in the back and forth conversation. But he's very much comedic relief. And he's the comedic relief in this show that is actually landing There's only been like 4 moments, but every one has been like scene stealer, most like the funniest part of the episode, best part sometimes of the episode. And he's just one of those, again, charisma. It's like every time you kind of expect him to say something and it's like just hilarious. So really like that character. So yeah, let's talk about some predictions, theories. We're kind of, getting close to the end here. Where do you think the show's going? At least season 2, because there's a lot of seasons. So where do you think we're going to head on to season 2? Season 2, by the way, I can look it up real quick. Dragon Prince, season 2. It is Sky.
Okay.
Season 2 Sky. So so yeah, where do you think we're heading?
To the sky.
I can start if you want me to.
No, I don't. Where's it gonna go? I mean, obviously they're gonna be protecting Zim. That's gonna be their sole purpose, since he just hatched. I wouldn't be surprised if they went back to the lodge.
Oh,
I wouldn't be surprised just to camp out there for a second. But then something's gonna happen, and then they're gonna have to go elsewhere, to a new territory. So that's my prediction with that. I think Aunt Amaya will come back because she'll get word about what Viren's doing. I know Gren can't contact her for obvious reasons, but I think she's going to hear word somehow, some way. And she's going to play a bigger presence.
Okay.
Claudia, I think Claudia and Soren will rendezvous with the gang of Callum, Rayla, Bait, and Ezrin. At the lodge, there's going to be a conflict.
Do you think they're going to go back to the way I look at it?
They need to go back to somewhere that's reasonable.
But they're on a mission right now. I think they're going to continue going towards the Dragon Mountain, where the dragons are, because that's the whole goal, is to bring the egg to them, which is now hatched. So they want to go back. I don't think they would go backwards. I think this is a quest. It's like Avatar season 1. They're trying to get to the North Pole. Like they have a mission to go into.
That's true.
So I wouldn't see randomly in episode 7 them go back to the Air Temple, the Southern Air Temple. So I think they're going to continue going towards the mountain. I think because it's called Sky, I think that this season is going to be very heavy in introducing maybe more dragons, introducing maybe a group of people that try to protect the dragons, and that's where the Sky is coming from, and they're Sky elves or Sky people or whatever.
Airbenders.
And it's going to be a growth of Callum and his abilities, because he is a mage that uses his primal source is the Sky. So we're going to get maybe more powers from him. He's going to get a little bit better. It already seems like his abilities are growing. So he doesn't have that stone anymore. So maybe on their way, he's trying to find another primal stone, or he's trying to gain the ability without the primal stone.
That's good.
That's maybe where we're going, because it's just got called Sky. So I think that's maybe where we go.
You're probably right. Like they probably won't go back to the lodge. I was just trying to say that like they probably want to go like come back and get shelter. I mean, also, let's also be honest. I'm actually gonna revise it.
Okay.
I'm revising it. So they're there. I still think they're gonna go back, but I think they're gonna go back to the village where they're gonna go to the doctor and they're gonna take them in for like a night or two.
The village, yeah, the village would make sense
because they're still being attacked, but they're gonna, like they're still getting chased. So
who? Oh, by
the village people.
Yeah. Oh, you're right.
Kind of.
Yeah. I mean, I think I will agree with you. I think that the Varen's children, Claudia and Soren, are gonna eventually in season 2 be part of the team, or at least be against their father. They just seem like too nice of a characters. You could just kind of tell, like, I mean, we even said at the end of the first episode, we're like, oh yeah, like Soren seems like an older brother, to him. Right. And Claudia seems like she's super nice and he has a crush on Claudia. It's like they don't feel like they're villains. They don't feel like they're evil people. They don't even feel like that they don't even know what's going on. So, I mean, they literally think that they're there to capture him and bring him back from some evil elf. We also have that
they're following father's orders.
Yeah, we also have that one character. Gosh, I wish I know his name. But yes, Runan. But we also have that character that's chasing them down, hunting them. I completely forgot his name, so I'm sure he'll be another character.
He's not that. I don't think he had a name. Oh, Corvus.
Yeah,
I thought you meant the guy from the village.
No. Corvus is chasing them down. I mean, there's a lot of things coming at us that we're like, is it going to continue? Like, for instance, that blade that can cut through anything.
Yeah.
It's like, is that character coming back and we're going to have that blade? Or is that just something they introduced just to show that the wristband won't break?
Well, no, I thought it was like kind of like a world building where like, probably this weapon can cut through almost anything.
Yeah. So we'll see where a lot of those things go. It is a nice world building. I just wonder they're bringing up a lot of cool concepts and then they're just kind of like leaving it. And I'm sure, and you guys have even commented, like every little thing comes back. So I'm sure a lot of those things will come back. I hope they do, because I think there's a lot of really cool concepts. But we shall see. So I think we're about where we need to be at. We're around 450, around 50 minutes. So I mean, overall, I think we already talked about it, but I think we're both excited where the show's going. There's a couple things we want them to clean up, but we're definitely excited. We're going to be reacting, and bear with us with the reactions because I've never edited reaction videos before, so they might be a little choppy at first, but hopefully by the end of season 2, I will get the reactions better and better every time, and hopefully by the end of season 2, it looks good, like a normal reaction channel. So definitely check those things out, and yeah, we're excited where we're going. Comment below, by the way, just comment below.
Subscribe. Come on,
and subscribe. No, but I am interested to hear, because a couple of you guys have been doing a good job commenting and stuff. Do you agree with some of our weaknesses and strengths? Do you agree with like some of the weaknesses we say, and we're like, we hope it gets better? Do you feel like it gets better? If you love the show, like I know a lot of you guys are passionate about the show. Do you feel like, yeah, I'm passionate about the show, but the comedy can be a miss? Or does it really, really get better, and we're just getting there? We're just getting there. So, John, anything else to say besides subscribe?
Well, besides subscribe, because I don't know if you noticed, we lost a subscriber. So
I don't know what you guys are doing. Well, then,
we had 101. Now we're down to our milestone of 100. What are we doing? We're doing this
down to
for
99.
you. I would cry if it's 99 right now, but you know what? Subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your neighbors. Anybody who's interested in the Dragon Prince, watching new things that when you're at home, 23-minute shows, 25-minute shows that are like not that long, 7 seasons, 9 episodes. This is the channel.
Specifically.
This is the channel for it. So come on.
All right. See ya.
Bye, Cabbage Crew.
Bye, Cabbage Crew.